Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. You just do one video talking about WrestleMania 41. I keep looking at the calendar on my desk at work, counting down the days until my flight leaves, until the flight to Las Vegas. I'm excited, guys. I am really, really excited. I almost pulled the trigger and went to WrestleMania last year. I am really grateful that I'm going to be going to this WrestleMania last year. On paper, as of right now, it is my last WrestleMania trip that I think I'm planning on going on. Knocking out WrestleCon, I think, is one of my biggest goals to do. Hopefully getting as many people as I can get done. Of course, Sunday is going to be free. I think it's going to be a madhouse in there. Thursday, I think I'm only stepping in there for a quick minute, unless there's somebody else on my list that's going to be there. I think Soraya is my only person that is a one day Thursday only that I really need to get. But I think I'm just gonna try and get everything knocked out on Friday, since Friday WrestleCon is pretty much the only thing I want to do. As of right now, we've got 6 matches named for WrestleMania. I'm really guessing that Cena versus Cody is going to be our main event on Sunday night. I'm really looking at Roman versus Punk versus Rollins. The triple threat match is going to be the main event for Saturday, but we don't really know where these other matches are going to be going down. But I'm really thinking that this week on SmackDown, we're going to have more matches named for WrestleMania. And then Monday, I think, is going to be a madhouse of just like boom, 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 boom. Just matches just thrown up on the card. So I thought we'd knock it out right now and just bang out who I think is the predictions for what I think is going to happen, who's going to win these matches at WrestleMania. We'll start with the only real undercard match that we really have, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. This is a big time feud. We really got to see, is Sami Zayn going to be left off of WrestleMania 41, or is he going to play a part in this match? Of course, it was Kevin Owens that took out Randy Orton back in Berlin. And then, of course, Kevin Owens, took out, Sami Zayn. So Randy Orton made his return to come back and fight against Owens. So now they're fighting now. I can see this as like a match number 2 on the card either night, Saturday or Sunday. These are 2 well-respected guys in WWE. Honestly, when it really comes down to it, they're just going out there and they're having a match, and it's going to be good. They're going to beat the crap out of each other. I don't think that there's a doubt in my mind that Randy Orton is going to beat Owens, but I don't really know what's going to bloom out of this feud, even if it goes 2-3 matches down the line. To find out who's better than who. I don't really know where we're going from there. It doesn't seem like either one of these guys is going to step into World Heavyweight Championship or the Universal Championship title ranks. It doesn't feel like it's a number 1 contender to me. But I think Orton's getting the win here. Like I said, I think this is going to be the main event of Saturday. We've got Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins in the triple threat. Man, they finally brought back up the promise from Survivor Series, where CM Punk helped out the Bloodline, stood in there with Roman Reigns, and fought the fight. So what is it really going to be? I don't think it's as easy as Punk telling Heyman that he served up Roman Reigns on a silver platter to him. I don't know if the winner of this match... See, that's where it gets me. It can't just be the winner of this match gets Paul Heyman, who is going to be the true wise man. But Punk has said that it's not only his wise man. Of course, we saw at Madison Square Garden inside the steel cage that, as Roman was beating up Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman went into the ring and was consoling CM Punk to make sure that he was all right from the match. Maybe it's just a deal between Punk and Roman that, whoever wins this match, Paul's going to be with. And Paul's kind of left on the outside. Maybe they'll put him in a shark cage during the match. But I think the wild card in this is I think Seth wins this match. And I think, maybe Heyman has something to do with Seth after WrestleMania 41. Maybe he does the dirty work and just turns on both Roman and Punk, thinking that Seth Rollins is the money ticket right now. Then we look at the Women's Championship match. I made a video on this match earlier today. I love Charlotte. Charlotte's one of my favorite women's wrestlers of all time, honestly. And she is coming back from a return. Normal WWE thoughts, would it be like a Triple H-like return where he comes back, he wins the Royal Rumble, he wins the main event at WrestleMania 18, he becomes the champion. But even then, what the hell were they thinking? A month later, he loses the belt to Hulk Hogan? And then Hulk Hogan, a month later, loses the belt to The Undertaker, who then loses the belt to Brock Lesnar, and just like a boom, 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 boom. They were, debuting the new championship at that time. Maybe they just wanted to get as many hands to take people's pictures with the belt, to give it like some like notoriety. It's like been around, even though it's only been there for a little while. But that time period of WWE never really made sense. Attitude Era, the belt got passed around a ton, but at 2002, I really don't know what they were doing at that point. But I think this match right here is a make it or break it for Tiffany Stratton. They're going to strap the rocket to her. They're going to see how far it flies. Charlotte's really going out there and saying that, like, she thinks of Tiffany Stratton as somebody that was a lot like her a couple of years ago. And, when people look at Tiffany Stratton, they look at a younger Charlotte Flair. I think Tiffany's going to beat Charlotte, and I don't think it's going to be a lucky roll-up. I don't think it's going to be anything else. I think it's going to be a hard-fought match, and in the end, Tiffany just has more in the tank than Charlotte does, and Charlotte's going to have to go back into the lab, rebuild herself, and maybe even find a more evil Charlotte Flair in the mirror to bring out to be able to be the one who defeats Tiffany. World Heavyweight Championship match, they're really pulling out the stops right now. I think they know that Jey Uso has really cooled off. He's not as hot as he once was at the Royal Rumble. Maybe it was that he didn't have a match at the Elimination Chamber. Maybe they just had a match where he just beat anybody. Maybe they had him in a match against Kaiser or anything like that, sort of related to Gunther, or found some, bigger guy like Braun Strowman that he could have defeated, and you were like, oh shoot, he's really got it. This isn't just lucky main event Jey Uso. He's really going to do it. But I still think that Jey Uso is winning that belt. I don't know how this reign is going to go as a champion. I think that honestly, 2 years, 3 years down the road, it's going to be kind of like, hey, you remember that one time Jey Uso was champion? And he's just wrestling with the Usos. Women's Championship, Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. Of course, Rhea Ripley is going to get added to that match. I don't really know what's going to happen. I think it's too easy to say that Rhea Ripley wins the belt. Rhea Ripley's last run with the championship belt, she pretty much dominated the women's division. So maybe it's Bianca Belair's turn, and I think that more of the storyline between Naomi is going to come out. That not only were they in on defeating Jade, but they were in on still being together. Bianca Belair wins this match, then we can go into Bianca Belair versus Jade, and I think that's where the money line of this whole storyline is. Going to the WWE Undisputed Championship match, Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Cody's a damn good champion. Cody's my champion. I love the guy. Did I leave that sweatshirt on my desk again? No way I did. I bought the new blue Cody Rhodes jacket from WWE Shop /Fanatics /We Charge Your Credit Card as NFL Shop. And I took it to work, and there's a lady who does like embroidering, and I had her put my name on the chest to be a real member of the Nightmare family. And I think I left it on there for the second day in a row. No way. But all right, back down to it. Cena's winning this match. I really want to see where it goes from here. I really feel like WWE could, knock it out of the park with a John Cena title run. Maybe even have him hold the championship until the last days that he's going to be in WWE. Maybe make him stay longer than he wants to stay. He said he was going to retire in December, but you end up finding a way to make him come back to WrestleMania 42 and somebody finally defeats him for the belt. Maybe The Rock just takes the belt and The Rock goes on a championship run where he never won the belt, but, Cena's not around. Anything like that would be damn cool, but I am glad I am going to this WrestleMania. I think it is going to be awesome. More matches are going to be rolled out sooner than later, no doubt in my mind. Naomi versus Jade is something with the Intercontinental Championship. I don't really know what's going on with the United States title other than LA Knight has it. The women's belt, the girl who has the Intercontinental Championship, I'm not really quite sure. Chelsea Green has the United States belt. Something's got to be going on with those. Hopefully we get an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but most of the time they do that on SmackDown. But let's go, boys. WrestleMania 41. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We have a confirmed match for WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. After Monday Night Raw tonight, Logan Paul going up against AJ Styles. This is a match right now I am excited for. Yeah, there is no clear-cut road to the Intercontinental Championship. There's no clear-cut, World Heavyweight Championship shot. These are just two guys that just want to have a fight. And I think they want to have a match. And they want to have their WrestleMania moment. AJ Styles has been in WrestleManias since WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. He's had matches against Chris Jericho. He's had matches against Shane McMahon. He had the Boneyard match with The Undertaker. He's been up and down all over the card. I don't think he's really had that solidified WrestleMania moment yet. I think he's had a lot of matches that people thought were going to deliver and just didn't really, I don't know. I thought a lot of his matches have been really, really good. People thought that the match that he had against Chris Jericho wasn't a WWE style match. Whatever the hell that means. I mean, they went out there, they did what they did. I've always thought that the match was good. But Logan Paul, I don't think that they've ever had a guy in WWE continuously get the level of hate that he does. I really don't know a lot about the dude. I've kind of said that the HBO show, I wanted to build up a couple of episodes and then just kind of binge watch a few and then really find out who these guys are. I heard about them. I don't think I ever had the Vine app or watched Vines, which I think is where they came from. I don't follow them on YouTube or Twitter or anything like that. I really don't know what they do out of the limelight. I don't think I've ever seen his brother. No, I watched his brother box. He boxed against Tyson. So I was about to lie, and then I just figured out that I just got him mixed up with somebody else. But the one thing I know about Logan is that he came in, he did the WrestleMania match where he tagged with The Miz. Then he came back and he had the match against The Miz. I thought he was just like Johnny Come Lately, a guy that came into WWE as a celebrity, but wasn't going to be around for the long haul. But I can't really remember the last time the guy had a match that didn't just blow me away and steal the show. The match against Roman, I remember at a point during that match being like, they're really gonna do it. they're going to let Logan Paul be the guy who beats Roman Reigns, and I believed it. I thought that maybe they thought that the news attention would be worth it, and he landed his one lucky punch, but he knocked out Roman Reigns and he won the title. He didn't have to hold it that long. But I thought that's what they were going for, to bring in the people that buy Prime energy drink or Prime hydration drink, to bring those people in that listen to his podcast, that he is the champ. Since then he's been United States champ. He lost that at SummerSlam last year to LA Knight. But this is a match I'm looking forward to. I'm really hoping for some sort of like a Ricochet-like moment from the Royal Rumble with the high flying. But I think AJ could be a guy to kind of mentor Logan during the time leading up to this match. They kind of teach him what he needs to do in order to put together a good one. I don't know really where this fits on the card, Saturday or Sunday. It could be the opener. I think all we really know is that Owens and Orton is going to be on night one. It's going to be main evented by the Punk, Roman, and Seth Rollins match. And then Cody versus Cena will main event night two. But I think you can put this match in the opening match either way. And that's just the way it's going to go. I don't know. Logan hasn't really won the last two matches that he's in, so that's the part of me that hopes that he gets to win, to heat him back up towards being somebody that everybody just loves to boo every time he comes out there. Kind of like when Dominic had that run where he just, anytime he was anywhere near the ring, people just booed him, or anytime he touched the mic, they wouldn't even let him speak. It seems like he's cooled off a lot since the whole Rhea Ripley thing. I think that he was still getting it, when he first got with Liv, and now it's just kind of whatever. He's not really doing a whole bunch, but maybe if he wins the Intercontinental title, it'll be different. But I don't know. AJ, when I think about it, I can't really think of him having a big WrestleMania win, having a big WrestleMania moment. When he first came into WWE, for WrestleMania in Dallas at 32, I really I didn't think he was going to be around forever. I kind of thought that he would have a 3, maybe 4 year run and then call it quits, and then just go home and retire in Georgia. But this guy, winning the WWE Championship in his first year in WWE, there was so many rumors that, WWE didn't want to sign him because of his age, and he had only wrestled for TNA. They would have to get him ready for, WWE TV. They'd have to send him to the Performance Center, and he would have to work in NXT for a year, and he was already this age, so by that time he was that age, and WWE doesn't like to put people that age on TV, and blah, 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 blah. There was times when I really felt like maybe AJ wasn't, the flavor of the month that WWE wanted to push anymore. But the guy's so good, he always just rises to the top. He's AJ freaking Styles. So I want to see that guy get the win. It's hard to pick, which one. But I think AJ getting that moment, getting the big win, I think that's what I'm going for at WrestleMania. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today on my lunch. We're basically knocking out videos day by day, talking about all the WrestleMania matches that have been named as of so far. There's not a ton, but it honestly looks like they're building a pretty good card. I'm guessing that SmackDown this Friday, as well as Monday Night Raw, we're going to know a majority, probably 80% of the card. They're not going to be leaving things up until the last Raw or booking things on the last SmackDown. SmackDown being in Las Vegas that week. I hope to see the yearly Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I know that it's never really meant anything. Nobody's ever really got a push out of it. We've all kind of thought every year that this is going to be somebody's year. I mean, I really thought that the year Cesaro won it, he was going to win World Heavyweight Championship, and it just didn't work out. But hopefully that'll get named as something for a lot of guys to get booked on to make sure they're all in town for their WWE World as well as SmackDown that week. One of the matches that really hasn't really grabbed me yet to gain a lot of attention for it is Tiffany Stratton putting up her World Championship against Charlotte Flair. Charlotte won the Royal Rumble. I was really hoping that they were going to do like a Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte match to sort of build onto their legacy of matches that they've had. And, they decided to go a different direction. I think this is a real big prove me match. Tiffany Stratton holding the NXT championship while she was in NXT. That was kind of a blind spot for me. I've seen it in pictures. I've seen it in cards. I don't think I've seen any of her promos besides her on Twitter this week. People saying, like, why are we not getting this version of Tiffany Stratton? They're really just building her as a baby face who won the title, cashing in the Money in the Bank. I don't know. They're really making it seem like Charlotte is the queen and she's just coming in to dominate. I really think that this is going to be a prove me match for Tiffany, that she has to come out of her shell. She's going to have to, have the match of her life in order to come out there. But I've always kind of thought that this is Tiffany's match to win, to prove that where she is. WWE at this time with NXT, as well as girls that are on the main roster, is just packed full, and there's only so many spots. They're doing everything they can do at this time. They came out with the Intercontinental Championship as well as the Women's United States Championship to sort of like give an eye to people in the business and make matches mean more when they pop up on Raw and SmackDown, to keep your eyes on it. And sometimes it doesn't make a lot of sense because you have these, I'm always going to call them pay-per-views, pop up, and none of these titles are on the pay-per-view. And I kind of like the fact that these shows are only 2.5 hours. They keep your attention. They don't drown you out. But then at the same time, it kind of like, why do we have these titles if we're not defending them on anything other than like small matches on small shows? They need to make these titles mean something. Charlotte's one of my favorites. I think she's one of the best women's wrestlers that there's ever been. I would put her on my Mount Rushmore with Trish Stratus, and there's a few others that battle it out for those other two spots. But in these next few weeks, last week we had the via satellite Tiffany talking to Charlotte, and it didn't really seem like it had the best communication between the two. They kept talking over each other, and I think that Charlotte was really feeding it to Tiffany to put the kill in on her as the baby face. She was setting her up as the heel, and Tiffany wasn't spiking the ball. I guess you could say, if she was moving in on the net. And I really think as of right now, Tiffany's gonna win this match. I hope that it's in like a not dominant. I just hope it's not like a surprise fluke victory that they like to give people sometimes. Charlotte is in rehabbing her career right now, and I think that she just thought she was gonna walk in, win a Royal Rumble, then she was gonna win a championship at Wrestlemania, and I don't think it's gonna happen. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today, driving home on my way home from work. We got a really big match on Monday Night Raw tomorrow. Jimmy Uso going up against Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion. Last week, we had Jimmy and Jay, sitting in the back of Monday Night Raw on some steps, Jay and, committed another, flaw in his match, and he knew time was ticking until WrestleMania, and he is not going to have room for a mistake in that match. He has to wrestle probably the most perfect match of his whole life in order to win the match at WrestleMania against Gunther. Gunther, a guy who's probably, lost 5-6 times in his whole time in WWE. Guy doesn't lose much. But Jay, at one point in his career, had his number. I think he's had 3 matches, Saturday night's main event, Monday Night Raw, where it was damn close. But one thing led to another, and he didn't get the job done. And a lot of people are thinking after him winning the Royal Rumble, it's his time. But I think that Jimmy wanted to take one for his brother. He walked right up to Gunther, probably smacked him harder than he's ever been hit in his whole career. Slapped him right in the face, said next week they were going to have a match. No talk of it even being a championship match. I don't think Jimmy's going in there to try and win the World Heavyweight Championship. That'd be one hell of a story if it really comes down to it. That, kind of like, like the breakup of Beer Money back in TNA, where it's just like a warm-up match before WrestleMania, but somebody just cuts in line and beats the champion. And it just happens to be when you're going to be having the match. I don't even know where this story would go from there if I was in charge. Would Jimmy have to fight Jay? Would it be a 3-way? Would it'd be a rematch where they just bump him out and it'd be Gunther against Jimmy? One thing lead to another. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Jimmy's not winning this match. Honestly, in my opinion, I think Jimmy might get hot right off the bat, and put the beat down on Gunther and have it look like he's softening him up. But he's going to make some sort of a mistake. It's Gunther. The guy's good. And I think Gunther is going to take Jimmy to task. I think it's not going to be where he just wants to beat him in the ring, 1, 2, 3. I think he's going to make an example out of Uso, and he's going to want to try to goat Jay into the ring so he can not only beat one down, but he can beat the other. But we need to see a glimmer of hope. We need to see it. They have really cooled off Jey Uso. Yes, he has beat Austin Theory. There has to be somebody. Have him, wrestle and get a win against The Miz. At least The Miz is a former 2-time champion. Show that he can beat a champion in order to do it. Sami Zayn's been an Intercontinental. Why not have him beat Sami Zayn in a match? Sami Zayn has at least beat Gunther before. And they could have done something to keep him hot. At least they got a storyline. I'll tell you that much. At least now they're doing a story of Jay doubting himself, as he falls deeper and deeper in doubt. Is that going to make him less of a wrestler, where he doesn't have the confidence to go into Monday Night Raw to win this one? I'm pumped about this match. Like I said, I don't think Jimmy's going to win it. I don't think this is going to be like some underdog story where Gunther loses the match before WrestleMania and has to be like, oh shoot, I gotta kind of redo everything. These Uso guys are good. I think it's going to be a beatdown. He's gonna try and goat Jay into the ring so he can choke him out one more time. But this needs to be where Jay, gets the advantage. Whether it was like some spring off the ropes and kicks him, knocks him down, but he's got to sort of send Gunther running, saying he doesn't want none of that, and make it look like Jay is getting his confidence back. I believe we got 3 Raws until WrestleMania. If I'm 100% sure, the 31st, the 6th, and the 13th. But we got to get something going, boys. This is going to be good. I can't wait for this match. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're driving into the city. We're almost done with these, I guess. They told us yesterday. but we'll be going back to the normal work schedule of working 5 to 2. But these last 2 weeks have almost felt like vacation. I mean, during the day it's kind of boring, but all in all, I mean, I haven't been working. I've been getting paid, so it tells you that's pretty damn cool. Um, we have a big night on Monday Night Raw last night. We had Roman Reigns make his return during the steel cage match, breaking up Rollins versus CM Punk, which is a very big rivalry. But I would say in the whole WWE, one of the biggest rivalries that we have is Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. I've said this many, many times that the match that I really wanted to see at WrestleMania, and I didn't even know that I wanted to see it until the Royal Rumble, was Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. I wanted a lot of payback from last year's WrestleMania. Last WrestleMania, honestly, was a really good 2 days of wrestling. I'm not going to go out and say that it was the best WrestleMania of all time. I think it would take more of a deep dive to get in on that. But I mean, if we get um, a rematch from the World Heavyweight Championship cash in, if we got a match made out of Cody versus Roman, that would be huge. I was really looking forward to. I kind of talked myself into like, what if Roman Reigns was the last domino to fall in this whole Rock versus Cody thing, with Cena already joining? What if Roman joined that group and he was like the one? Cena always throws up a 3. Rock, when he did the slice, he did the 2, and then you got Roman, who always throws up the 1s. What if that went full circle and they actually made Bad Blood make sense when Rock came out there and he did the 3, 2, 1, and he was basically warning Cody, like, hey, we're coming for you. I thought it would be awesome. They'd be like sort of like a huge dream team. The only time I can think of like super heroes coming together like that in WWE was Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, the 2-man power trip. I think that would be 2001 when Triple H got injured. We never really got to see how that panned out. Stone Cold Steve Austin was your WWF champion. Triple H was your Intercontinental champion. They were your tag champions. And we don't really know where that storyline was going, if they were going to turn on each other, if somebody was going to have to Hulk up and beat those guys. But, if you had a modern day dream team of Rock, Cena, and Roman, in my mind, what you could really do is on the nights that all 3 of them are together, they're unbeatable. 2 of them, you can get some shots in on them, but they're going to find a way to come out on top. But there would have to be nights when it was only Rock, it was only Roman, or if it was only Cena, and that's when like you got to jump on them. And I don't know. All in all, they know what they're doing. Let them do what they do, and we'll be all right. But WrestleMania 41, we're going to get a 3-way. Not the biggest fan of 3-ways at WrestleMania. I know that there have been, some really, really good matches. But honestly, when I think of a really good match, I just think of 2 guys going at it. Yesterday on Click This with Kevin Nash, he was kind of burying 3-ways. He says that he's been in 100 of them, throughout his career. There's only real selling in a match when there's 2 guys in there. Basically, in a 3-way, you're watching the match, you always know that there's going to be a point when somebody has to get beat down on, and they just kind of like lay out and disappear, almost making you forget about them because they go into what they're used to, and that's just a normal one-on-one affair. And then that guy will sort of pick back up, and somebody else will duck out. And I don't know. It is what it is. It's 3 guys. They're going to be on the top of the card. More than likely, I know there's a lot of matches that fill out, but I really think that this will be Saturday's main event match at WrestleMania. I mean, I got no. I got no shots taken at Gunther or Jey Uso. I think Jey Uso, he might be cooling off a little bit, but at a point, he was one of the hottest guys there was in WWE. Um, it just seems like since they've sort of pull back because we got time until WrestleMania. I mean, yesterday he was wrestling against Grayson Waller. Um, they should find a way to like keep having him in big matches. There's so many people out there that are in Intercontinental title hunt or they're just not really in a match that are bigger names that Jey Uso could be beating. You'd be having them call him out and basically say like, "Hey, I want your shot at WrestleMania," and Uso beats him. I want your shot at WrestleMania, and Uso beats him. I mean, like, CM Punk, did the honor so many times for John Cena on the road to WrestleMania because The Rock wasn't around for 2029. I was gonna say he did it for 27, but I guess that would have been the Miz. And I guess they didn't really have Miz and Cena getting physical on the road to there, but that's when they did the whole deal with Punk and him. So this is going to be a damn good WrestleMania. I mean, I keep looking at what I think the card's going to be. I saw a card that got posted up on Reddit, and the thing looked pretty damn good. It's a lot of like kind of obvious matches. They have like a Intercontinental, like I want to say there's like 5 guys in there. They got a 4-team tag team match, which is kind of WrestleMania style. When I look at the card, I don't see Miz, R-Truth, Karrion Kross, and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn might be the biggest name in WWE that's missing, but maybe that sort of is playing into the storyline of why after Bash in Berlin, Orton laid out. So maybe like Orton has to fight the Sami Zayn fight for against Kevin Owens in order for Kevin Owens to lose, and then Sami comes in and gets his comeuppance against him. But I don't know, they'll figure it all out. I'm really looking forward to this. Every day we're inching a little bit closer. I believe it's 39 days until WrestleMania now. I could be off, but it's gonna be a damn good trip, boys.
Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I made a video. I wasn't planning on uploading another one today, but I watched a video from my good buddy Jim Nye 888, aka Jim Nye 686 from back in the day. Yeah, Vince is still out there. Yeah, Vince is still making videos, and he was all fired up today. He was talking about WrestleMania 7, why WWE couldn't fill up the Coliseum for WrestleMania 7, why they had to move it over to the sports arena, and it's always been like a hot button. WWE has never really came out and said, hey, we had trouble selling tickets. They weren't willing to really admit defeat. They've always gone with that there were security risks, that they wouldn't be able to get security to be able to cover the Coliseum. They weren't able to make it a no-fly zone. They were scared there was going to be some sort of a bombing or something like that, so they moved it over. Honestly, Jim, the way that I remembered it was in 1991, the night of the Royal Rumble, the Persian Gulf War started. Everybody remembers Operation Desert Storm. They made all the Topps cards back in the day. It was the first time that America went to war during my lifetime. I can honestly tell you that I was a scared kid back in 1991. I was 10 years old. I remember writing letters to the soldiers pretty much on a weekly basis. I don't even know what soldiers ever got the letters that I wrote, but I remember that we did that in school for a lot. But if you watch the end of the Royal Rumble live in time, Ultimate Warrior loses his championship to Sergeant Slaughter. To really start the whole deal with Sergeant Slaughter being the Iraqi sympathizer. Now he's the champion. We need somebody to stand up and fight for America? Is it going to be the Ultimate Warrior, who is wearing red, white, and blue that night? Is it going to be Hacksaw Jim Duggan? Is it going to be Hulk Hogan? But Hulk talks about them, going over there and dropping bombs, just like the Toby Keith song said. And that was the night that Operation Desert Storm started. Operation Desert Storm ended the month before WrestleMania. I think that honestly, that is when WWE pulled the plug on the Coliseum. They had sold 17,000 tickets at that time. They decided to go into the sports arena because I think they knew that they were running a gimmick that was outlasting the storyline of the world. I understand that, in wrestling, they've used country stereotypes. They had the Russians, they had the Japanese. Everybody, listens to those old shows with Gorilla Monsoon, talking about pulling a Pearl Harbor job, things that they would never say anymore in the world. But Jim, I don't know about the recession. In 1991, I can tell you that I don't remember us being broke or poor in a recession. I'm not saying that money was easy to come by, but I was able to buy my Topps baseball cards and get the bubble gum and drink soda and buy stuff from the ice cream man and stuff like that. So there were no problems in my world. 1991 was a good year, the way that I remember it. So I don't really blame a recession. The Rodney King incident had happened before WrestleMania, so there is one reason to be scared of LA. But the Los Angeles riots didn't actually happen until 1992, when the police officers went on trial, and they ended up coming up not guilty. That's when the people of America, not only Los Angeles, revolted because they all saw the video and didn't believe it, and it wasn't just Rodney King supporters out there. I think it was pretty much all of Los Angeles had just had enough, and it just boiled over into being that. So they would actually be in Indianapolis for WrestleMania 8. It is funny that they weren't able to fill up the Coliseum. Maybe people just didn't want to sit on those concrete steps, I guess you can say, as seats. Maybe that's just one thing that people just didn't really want to. I know that they do have seats, but they do have a large amount of just like kind of like almost like bleacher-like seating, but you're not even sitting on bleachers. You're just sitting on concrete back in 1991. But they were able to fill up the Sky Dome, which was relatively an attraction back in those days because the Sky Dome had just opened up there in Toronto. The next year, they don't fill it up. They don't come close to filling it up, but they still got a lot of freaking people into the Indianapolis arena where the Colts played. I don't know if that's one of those deals where Indianapolis paid them to come, and that's why they came, or if they just thought that was like the heart of the country at the time. But then WrestleMania 9, they take the paycheck, they go to Vegas, and then WrestleMania 10, they're back in the Garden. You can really see them, scaling down. After that, WrestleMania 11, Anaheim Pond, WrestleMania 12. This is when I start getting messy. I already think I screwed up, but they're in Connecticut, in like Nowhereville. That's like the one WrestleMania you watch, and you're like, is this even WrestleMania? When they got Diesel wrestling up against Shawn Michaels. You've got Lawrence Taylor going up against Bam Bam Bigelow in the main event. And honestly, in my opinion, both of those manias are in eras that I really don't love to remember. 11 might be worse than 12, but it's a coin flip to me. I like WrestleMania 9 just because mainly the ambiance of just being able to look around. It's the first time they're outside. There's a lot of big pluses to it, and it's almost like WrestleMania 8 is like me kind of like saying goodbye to the golden era of wrestling before they really move on to the new generation, which I don't think really starts. When did they start pumping the new generation stuff? 10 to 11, I guess you can say. But Jim, those are my thoughts on why they weren't able to fill up Los Angeles. There's a lot of things going on in the world, but I don't really blame a recession. I don't remember asking my dad, can we go to Wrestlemania, and him saying that, we didn't have any money.